On camera, she laughed while she badgered her staff. And so all good things must end. And also the Ellen DeGeneres show. Yes, the 83-year-old entertainer just announced that the upcoming 19th season of her show will be its last. Apparently, she created a workplace more toxic than an Amazon warehouse in Chernobyl.
She was said to be a nasty biatch, and that's Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
So her show got canceled after she had this testy exchange with Dakota Johnson, where something happened where Dakota said, oh, I had this birthday party, and Ellen said, well, why didn't you invite me? You didn't invite me. And she said, like, no, I did invite you, Ellen. That's not what happened. And Ellen had blown her off and then tried to play the victim on set with her. Anyway, it led to article after article of people being like, Ellen is a nasty person.
Greg Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly didn't just criticize Ellen, they performed a comedic autopsy on her brand. That perky pastel image of joy and generosity, Greg called it a Hollywood hologram. Behind the curtain of choreographed compassion and celebrity, giggles, he saw a daytime dictatorship disguised as a dance party. Be kind, more like be careful.
Dana, Ellen is blaming this on misogyny, but there were females that were involved in criticizing her and her staff.
Yeah.
Ellen is a nasty person. And all these staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice...
Greg started with a smirk and didn't let up. To him, Ellen's entire persona was a Disneyland. Animatronic programmed over smiling and suspiciously glitchy if you looked too close. The Queen of Nice, he said, ran a set more like a Silicon Valley. Startup brutal hours, fake grins, and a culture that chewed through assistants like gum wrappers.
Surfaced last summer that the show's work environment was ripe with harassment and discrimination. Following those charges, Ellen's ratings dropped faster than Kevin Spacey's pants at a boy band pool party. Try to say that fast. But Ellen told the Today Show, home of Matt Lauer, that the bad press actually had nothing to do with her decision. Right, and the Titanic didn't hit an iceberg. It chose to...
He mocked the contradictions with glee, how Ellen's smiling facade masked a climate of fear. Staff allegedly avoided eye contact like it was radioactive. Deliver the wrong smoothie. You weren't just fired, you were excommunicated. Her set was less safe space and more Game of Thrones with throw pillows.
DeGeneres bails for the UK. All right. I'm gonna go to you first, Kat, because this is I think you understand this story. So Ellen and her wife, Portia, have left their millionaire haven at Montecito for England. Now they're saying they'll never come back in the wake of Trump's win. Do you think that's the reason why she's leaving?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I mean, Ellen got canceled for real a few years ago from just being a...
Greg compared it to learning that Bob Ross used to scream at trees. Ellen didn't just disappoint fans, she detonated the illusion. He said she wasn't a host. She was a high priestess of packaged authenticity. With every hug rehearsed and every laugh backed by legal counsel.
Coming back. She's got a Netflix special. That's the right response.
Yeah.
She's got a Netflix special. And here's the capper. On the promo, and apparently there's now articles out about from people who have seen the preview, she plays the victim. And she says, poor me. And she actually has the nerve to say that she was run out of Hollywood.
He zeroed in on the show's vibe, which by the final seasons felt more like a hostage situation sponsored by Crate Barrel. Forced grins, applause that sounded like Morse code for help, and a host who seemed one latte short of a meltdown. Greg called it emotional capitalism in skinny jeans.
In the meantime, to make sure that my staff isn't pissed at me like Ellen, I had my assistant, James, ask them how stuff is going so far.
So how's Greg done behind the scenes lately?
Oh, unbelievable. When I first got this job, Greg flew to Arkansas and packed my bags for me. And then when we got to New York, he said I could live at his apartment and he would go stay at a youth hostel, which doesn't really make sense. But oh yeah, the show's been great.
Well, my wedding dress got destroyed right before...
In those interviews, Greg said, they weren't conversations, They were PR rituals disguised as banter. Celebrities crying next to sponsored candles, while Ellen offered tissue boxes with brand partnerships. It wasn't intimacy. It was merchandise vulnerability with mood lighting.
So now she's out there saying, I was run out of Hollywood. She's actually reportedly complaining about how hard it is for women in America with the double standards.
Look at Oprah, how hard it is for her.
Oh, she's got, like 10 houses, Ellen DeGeneres?
Michelle Obama, look how hard it is for women in America. They're hurting.
They're going to let her back in, Rob, because she's a leftist and she didn't hit one of their sacred cows.
Then came the merch empire. Greg rolled his eyes at $40 mugs stamped with Be Kind, calling it retail therapy for moral bypassing. Ellen's brand, he said, wasn't kindness. It was controlled optics. An empire built not on authenticity, but on the choreography of caring.
Pretty exhausting investigation into my staff there, Kat. I think we could safely say that I am not a jerk, despite the rumors. Do you think this is just people... when you become successful, you have to spend less time with people around you because you're servicing. Take Ellen DeGeneres, she's servicing millions of people in her show. Therefore, she has to kind of like mitigate or control the amount of exposure with actual real.
Enter Megyn Kelly, who turned down the volume, but turned up the precision. She said Ellen wasn't a host. She was a marketing strategy with a pulse. Everything about her, from the tone of voice to the vegan snacks, was curated for image. Kindness was just part of the costume.
This is the promo for her Netflix special, and here's a clip.
Decided to take up gardening. I got chickens. Let me see what else I can tell you about that. It's been going on. Oh yeah, I got kicked out of show business. Be Kind Girl Wasn't Kind. That was the headline. Here's the problem. I'm a comedian who got a talk show, and I ended the show every day by saying, be kind to one another. Had I ended my show by saying, go fuck yourselves, people would have been pleasantly surprised to find out I'm...
Megyn dissected the scandal, not as gossip, but as a cultural indictment. This wasn't just bad management. It was industrial-strength hypocrisy, a workplace built on fear coated in glitter. Behind-the-scenes rules, silence, loyalty oaths. In front of the camera, empathy as a brand.
back this year. I really did think about not coming back because it did, it was devastating. I am a kind person. I am a person who likes to make people happy.
No, the real reason, she says, is it was just too easy. Telling the Hollywood Reporter, quote, when you're a creative person, you constantly need to be challenged. And as great as this show is, and as fun as it is, it's...
She scoffed at the celebrity defenders, the ones who praised Ellen as a trailblazer while sipping green juice in Malibu. They didn't see the real operation, she said. They saw the showroom. Meanwhile, the staff was walking on eggshells, just to avoid being vaporized over the wrong candle scent.
I don't sense any humility in that.
No, and no one cares that now she's dealing with chickens. It's like, all right,
You're a normal $450 million person.
And by the way, I guarantee you she's
Who's
worth
taking
a
care
lot
of her
more.
chickens? I guarantee, what's that? You guarantee what?
She's worth a lot more than
yeah.
$450 million.
Her art alone.
And like those talk show hosts.
Her devil-worshipping art alone.
It's just, it's too much. I can't stand these rich celebrities who want us to feel sorry for.
Megyn called Ellen's apology a PR TED Talk. No real remorse, just reboot language and pastel-colored guilt. She said Ellen didn't collapse from one scandal. The foundation cracked because it was fake from the beginning. A personality cult wrapped in gift cards and guest spots.
Well, wait, are these still your people? Are you still in California?
No, I had to move out of California because I got little kids. And
we understand why.
It's dangerous to, in California, take your kids, in public schools. In the morning you drop off a girl, in the afternoon you pick up a boy. You never know what you're going to get. But I really didn't feel it was safe in California. And I felt, it's very interesting because I'm getting those calls, and I'm sure you are too, where people call you and say, I wish I could come out and say what I believe, I agree with.
Greg closed with fire. Ellen wasn't undone by cruelty. She was undone by the weight of her own branding. It wasn't the fall. It was the refusal to admit she'd climbed a ladder made of illusion. He said if kindness is a product, Ellen was Amazon. Eventually, the return policy caught up.